Hey guys, so Benny made a goof and forgot to start recording for like the first intro part of this episode, so we're just gonna like jump right into it. Don't get whiplash. But yeah, here you go.
So let's go with your opinion on it first then.
So I did not read Jupiter's Legacy, the book, when it came out. I know that Frank Quitely did the art on it, which is exciting because it's All-Star Superman for Frank Quitely. Why wouldn't you want to see that? Didn't really appeal to me. And the more and more I learned about or heard about Jupiter's Legacy and Mark Millar's association thereof, I was like, because Mark Millar, sometimes when he hits big. When he doesn't, it just comes across as like angsty, grimdark nonsense. It just seems like try-hard garbage to me. So with Jupiter's Legacy, I was like, I'm not interested. Like I was never interested. Nothing of that ever appealed to me. It really looks like that it is a Mark Millar version of an old Alan Moore pitch to DC Comics, which was called Twilight of the Superheroes, which if you haven't covered that, you absolutely should. It's an amazing piece of history, and the whole document's available online. But this idea of there being like a family of heroes and that they shape the future of humanity. And I was like, ugh. I'm a Spider-Man fan. I want a kid from Queens to like punch a bank robber. That's all I'm interested in.
Right. Yeah.
So when I got into this show, I was like, okay, here's the show. Let's check it out.
So real quick to clarify, because everyone gave us crap about this Invincible, neither of us have read Jupiter's Legacy, neither of us intend to. So we're basing this entirely on, hey, it's a superhero show, we need to talk about it.
Yeah.
So if you're looking for the guys who read the comic and want to go back and forth, move on.
Yes, this is not that show. This is two guys who've never read Jupiter's Legacy, who normally read comics, so I recognize all the tropes.
Yes, yeah.
Who are talking about the show only. I will say, when I first saw the promo art for Jupiter's Legacy, and the show didn't really help to dissuade this feeling, I thought, oh no, this is the end of the superhero. This is the bubble bursting for superhero movies and TV show adaptations.
When you heard Jupiter's Legacy initially?
Yeah, when I saw the poster.
Okay.
Because everybody looks like they're from Batman Forever.
Not just that, the wig is terrible.
The beard, the fake beard,
the fake beard, and the wig. It looks fake, which is my problem.
Yes.
Like it's terrible. Yeah. It is terrible. The I don't know. I just don't know how to really describe it other than it just looks
very fake.
Yeah.
It looks very fake.
And it doesn't help that they literally, because especially more in episode 2, but they literally show him in the past, no beard, no hair. So you're giving me the reference that this is terrible.
Like that looks, if you were wondering if it looks very fake, here's what he normally looks like. So yes, he looks very fake.
Exactly.
For me, I don't know. Like this is one of those things where it feels like, man, they should have come out before The Boys did, because The Boys looks kind of like this with a Zack Snyder filter on it. But The Boys is about deconstructing superheroes, and this is, I think, trying to have its cake and eat it too, where it's like it's deconstructing superheroes in the genre, but also like doing something heavy in superheroes with it. It's literally the guy who wrote superhero comic books for 30 years, so he has a personal connection to the big two superhero genre and an influence over it. So he's going to be able to give you that kind of thing. And it's not going to be quite like as Garth Ennis-y in terms of deconstruction. Like Mark Millar may resent superheroes, but he also wrote for them for 30 years. Garth Ennis definitely resents superheroes. and you can find it in his superhero comics work. So they're two different animals. But this show, I don't know. It's one of those things where it's like, you ever hear a song and you wait for that beat to drop, and it like never comes, and you're like, when are we just gonna build until the beat drops? Like, when is the beat gonna drop? Like, I'm waiting for the other shoe to drop, waiting for the other beat to drop, and it's not coming. And I'm like, what's the twist for this show? Like, I feel like there is a twist.
I've watched into the second episode, and so you watched all the way through the first one, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So you saw the cliffhanger, like, what? Like,
yes.
Okay.
I couldn't care less. I was like, okay, well,
you care even less going into the second episode.
Oh, no.
Because it starts it off with the other guy walking in and making fun of them for getting it wrong.
Right.
And then the debate of the show turns into, well, the son killed the guy.
Right.
So shouldn't he take punishment just like the villains? while we deep dive into the history of the characters and where they got their powers from, which so far has not been very interesting.
Yeah, well, even the premise, they're like, we paid a heavy price. I'm like, I don't really care about that. None of that's interesting to me.
Yeah.
Like, or superhero origins are cool in as much as like you get that down so you can get to the good stuff.
The problem I'm having with it up to this point right now is generally, it feels cheap, feels low budget, and it doesn't feel like we're going anywhere interesting. And I believe I've watched up to episode 2 or 3. That's how uninteresting it's been so far. And I will say, because people know that sometimes I watch movies or shows while doing something else. Natalie and I have been watching this one in bed, so I'm not doing anything else. Like, we're watching the show.
Total captive audience.
Yeah, like this is not me like I'm on my phone, I'm doing some work stuff on the side. Like sometimes on the Flash CW things, like they'll have that slow moment and I started doing something and I missed something. And I admit to that. That's not the case with the show. I've been watching it because I was waiting for like an Umbrella Academy kind of like, oh, I'm in.
Yeah. I've seen the Umbrella Academy, and I didn't like that show either, but not because it was badly made. It was more just because I'm like, oh, cool. That's not for me, but like, good on you. Keep it up. Like, like legitimately, that is my experience with Umbrella Academy. So like, I recognize when a show isn't for me, but it's still well made. And this show is just kind of boring. Like, I was more interested in the 1920s plot than in anything superheroic. And then we get to the big superhero fight at the end.
I mean, slight spoilers. I do know where they get their powers from. They go to like some mystical island, and that's where they get them from. Yeah. And I'm only going to give slight spoilers because the whole series is out. Like, this isn't one of those like...
Yeah, you can watch all of it right now.
Yeah. I Googled real quick where the powers come from because I was curious. I didn't think we were going to get to it, so I was just curious if Jupiter's Legacy touched on it.
Yeah.
They go to an island, and they do something, and they get their powers. And so far, up to the point where I'm at right now, the 1920s plot, the father committed suicide because of the stock market crash.
Yes.
And he got a dream that he has to go to the island.
Oh.
That's like...
Okay. I don't know.
Yeah, and that's it.
Yeah. The problem for me was like, the human plot is not terribly interesting. Like, I was kind of hoping that the Superboy son was going to get killed at the end and that the daughter had to rise to his level. And I'm like, no, that's not what they're going to do. Like,
no, well, the Superboy son guy, he's dealing with the whole that he killed the guy. And then the daughter's plot is like, well, you cared more about the world than us. And I'm just like,
oh my God. I
get
couldn't
over
care
it.
less about that. Like, yeah, legitimately, I was just like, oh my God. Like, it's every cliche. It's every trope.
Yeah. My dad is Superman and he saved the world. How dare he? I'm just like,
yeah.
And maybe if I was that kid, I'd be on her side, but I'm not. Yeah. And as far as I'm concerned, it's not like he was the villain.
No. I mean, I get it. Like, I understand the motivation, and I know people who have been in that situation. Hell, I've been in that situation, and I get it, but, like, also I don't sympathize, and I think that has to do also with the acting, which is just not great. It's not bad
the
by any
kids
stretch, but
I don't think the kids are that great. Like,
they're not that great.
Especially the daughter. The daughter, I just feel like it's so much overacting. Like, in that first episode, she flies in for the meal, and you're just kind of like...
Oh, my God. It's just weak.
I'm more interested in the parents. I'm more interested in the 20s plot, and I'm probably going to finish the show just because I want to know the overall.
Yeah.
But right now, I'm not expecting it to improve. And like, if this is the kicking off an entire Netflix superhero universe,
right?
Bad choice to start with. Like,
yeah. The problem is, and it's funny because my wife is a big Magical Order fan, and she was like, "Man," because I know they're going to make that, and I think they're going to make Reborn and stuff, which are two totally different prospects. But I remember her talking about it. She was like, "God, like they should have started with Magical Order. Would have been a really cool like palate cleanser. Like it would have been a big change." The only problem is it's one and done. There's no like expansion. There's no Jupiter ascending, Jupiter blah blah blah. Like there's no expansion. It's just here it is. So it's like you can't go anywhere with it. Jupiter's Legacy is The Boys and The Walking Dead in terms of we give you the story, but if it blows up, we can give you all these side things.
Right,
we can give you, Tales from Jupiter's Legacy and Fear the Jupiter's Legacy and all these different ideas. And they bet big, and I think they blundered. I think this is uninteresting. It's only the first episode for me, but it's the last episode for me.
Yeah.
The suits look not great. When I say not great, it's just like okay. I always had a problem with superhero costumes, particularly like in a post Man of Steel world where I'm like, what is up with all the ribbing? Like, what's up with all the texture? You know what I mean? Like, if you look at Superman's suit, it's not blue. It's blue, but like little things in there. And there's like a gazillion little guys. And it's like, why is that? And my wife was like, because texture looks more real, dumbass, because it looks fake if it's all sleek. And I'm like, what? And then you see it, and I'm like, oh yeah, okay. It either looks fake or cheap.
Yeah,
and in this case, it looks like both.
I don't know if it's a budget problem. I don't know if it's because I think my biggest issue with it is it's so tropey. So we've seen it before. We've even seen it in media. Like, it's not like we've read a lot of comics, Al. We know what's going on. Like, we've seen this in TV shows already.
Yes. Yeah. I'm actually really worried for the future of good comic book adaptations because I think that this is going to be such a dud. And literally from the poster, I was like, uh-oh, this is a bridge too far. For me, I felt like it was pushing too hard, too fast. And as a result, studios, Netflix is like, what do you got? You got half an idea and a postage stamp? Here's $1 gazillion.
Yeah, seriously.
I think they're going to start scaling back on that. I think they're going to be like, okay, we bet big on Jupiter's Legacy, which I don't know why we did that. And we failed.
I know. When I read that they paid 8 figures for the whole Millerverse or Millarverse, however you want to pronounce it, I'm just like,
it's Miller. Yeah.
If Jupiter's Legacy is what we're getting out of this, I don't know if I'm sticking around, guys. Even our chat here is stating, I say wholeheartedly, I wasted 7 hours of my life watching the show. Just watch episode 1 and the finale, and it'll be good.
Nice. I might just watch the last episode. That'll be fun. Maybe, you know what? That's how we'll revisit it. I'll
go all the way through. Yeah, just because I'll put it on while playing my video games, and you watch the last episode, and we'll talk about it.
Because I legitimately don't care. Like, I don't care about wasting it. It was just uninteresting to me, and that's too bad because, there were moments that kind of caught me, like where I was like, oh, it's kind of neat. But that fake Darkseid fight at the end, I'm like, whew.
Oh God, it looks so cheesy.
It was like CW meets The Boys, where it's like, take the CW budget and put The Boys costumes and turn the lights all on. Like, you need shadow, you need something. It's just woof.
Yep. Our chat is stating budget side. So I'll finish this series out because I'm not signed on for a couple of our CW shows that they're doing. Like, they're gonna do Legends of Tomorrow today. I'm not on that, so I'm just gonna I'll watch out. I've got to finish up a couple PlayStation games. I'll watch this on the side. Not a big deal. And then you watch the ending, and we'll talk about it then. So good?
Yeah. That sounds great. Yeah, I love that idea. I want to see where we meet. It's like, yeah, you missed nothing, Sal.
The girl got more annoying, Sal.
Right. I expect that. I fully expect that.
Well, this has been Absolutely Marvel in DC. Check back next week or the week after, depending how quick it takes me to get through Jupiter's Legacy. And we'll be talking about it, guys. Thank you so much for joining us. And we'll see you next time right here.